cosmopolitan nature of Lagos State makes it one that needs deft managerial skills in order to superintend and harness its great potential. The Lagos State governor has been proving his mettle in these regards, and the state is gradually exuding its quintessential qualities. Welcome to The Governor This Week. I am Lekon Onabanjo. Lagos State Governor Mr. Tgtw April received the UEFA Champions League trophy alongside its ambassador and former captain of Barcelona FC of Spain, Carlos Puyol, in Lagos House, Alausa, Ikeja. Governor April, who was represented by the chairman of the Lagos State Sports Commission, Dr. Tgtw, also received Nigerian football legend Austin Okocha, who was part of the delegation. Speaking while receiving the trophy, Governor April expressed excitement with the fact that the organizers of the tour considered Lagos as one of the states to visit, adding that the development was particularly gratifying, more so that the synergy between sports and entertainment as well as tourism had been massively played up in the last 4 years. The governor also lauded the contribution of Puyol and Okocha to the development of the round leather game in Nigeria and worldwide, saying they deserve to be appreciated and celebrated. He said in order to ensure a successful trophy tour, the relevant security and government agencies have been contacted, assuring that all the activities lined up as part of the tour would be hugely successful. While wishing the team a successful tour in Nigeria, Governor April said the state government would be glad to receive the trophy back in the state in the nearest future, just as he assured that the government remained committed to make Lagos the sports hub, not just in Africa, but the entire world. Director General of Police Adamu Mohammed paid a courtesy visit to the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Tgtw April, over recent cases of extrajudicial killings recorded in the state, vowing that all the affected officers would be charged to court and made to face the full wrath of the law. Speaking at the Lagos House in Alausa, the IGP said the affected officers have already been arrested and tried internally, but that they would also face criminal prosecution for such act, which according to him was against the ethics of the force. Responding, Governor Tgtw April commended the IG for taking it upon himself to promptly address the extrajudicial killings in the state, despite his responsibilities across the country, saying it shows responsiveness and seriousness with which the issue is being handled by the police chief. He said with just 33,000 officers policing the population of about 24 million in Lagos, the police was already overstretched, but assured that the state government would continue to support the police and other security agencies to ensure that they carry out their duties lawfully and also have the human face needed to continue to uphold peace and unity in the country. As Christians in Nigeria join their counterparts across the world to celebrate Easter, Lagos State Governor Mr. Tgtw April has called on Nigerians to imbibe the spirit of tolerance, peaceful coexistence and sacrifice for one another, which Jesus Christ demonstrated throughout his period on earth. The governor, in his Easter message, said the celebration of the resurrection of Christ, which the season represents, should be a constant reminder for everyone to extend the virtues of selflessness, love, sacrifice and tolerance. He particularly urged Christians to use the season as a period to reflect on their individual and collective roles towards promoting and sustaining the foundations of love, peace and harmony in the nation. He said with the elections over, it is time for every Nigerian to unite together and eschew bitterness along ethnic and religious lines for the sake of a more prosperous Nigeria, adding that no challenge is insurmountable where unity of purpose thrives. Governor April also commended Lagosians for the sustained peaceful coexistence that the state has experienced since the commencement of his administration, despite being home to multi-ethnic, cultural and religious diversities. While wishing all Lagosians a happy Easter celebration, Governor April assured residents that his administration would continue to work for the greater good of the state until he exits office. The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, performed the pre-launch of a $50 million manufacturing plant in Lekki Free Zone, expressing optimism that the facility would go a long way to create jobs and boost the nation's foreign exchange earnings. Speaking at the pre-launch of the factory belonging to Longreach, a Chinese firm, Governor Ambode said the facility was another success story of the efforts of the state government in attracting investment, as well as an eloquent confirmation of the strategic importance of the free trade zone to the state's economy.
I've been informed that this Lekki Longreach facility, upon completion, which I understand will be completed by October, will not only be the hub for distribution of the products, but will also provide employment for at least 1,000 new workers in our state and boost the nation's foreign exchange earnings and exportation of these manufactured products to other parts of Africa. This is going to be the first manufacturing plant of the Longreach products being put in an export processing zone. So what does that mean for us? Apart from the fact that it's going to create employment for our people, we're going to use products here and actually export them to other parts of Africa. So what have we achieved? We're creating employment, we're improving on the GDP of Lagos, and by extension GDP of Nigeria, and actually also creating opportunities for the over 1 million people who are partners with Longreach in the products, and expand and be able to also replicate this particular plant in other parts of the country. So it's a win-win, and that's what the dream of a free trade zone is. And one is, being satisfied that, in the course of history, one has been part of this success story also.
The 49th National Conference of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers was held, and there the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, vowed that the Lagos State government will continue to make policies and programs to further develop the state to complement the ever-rising population in the state. The governor, who made this pledge while being represented by the Commissioner for Housing, Prince Bala Lawal, said government has in the last 20 years put infrastructure development on the front burner to be commensurate with the population of the state. Minister for Works, Power and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, in his remarks, identified disregard for law and order as the bane for a city that works in any society.
It gives me great pleasure to be invited as the host governor to your 49th annual conference tagged Eko Akete 2019 with the theme, A City That Works, holding here in Lagos, the center of excellence and aquatic splendor. I also want to congratulate your institution, the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, as it turns 50 this year, having been established in 1969. The choice of Lagos State this year to hold your conference is indeed apt and auspicious, being Africa's third largest economy with a GDP currently estimated at $91 billion. Lagos, with an estimated population of 21 million people, is the most populous city in Nigeria and the 7th fastest growing city in the world. Hence, the vision of the government of Lagos State in developing a 24-hour economy in line with its goal to become a world-class smart city. It is notable that your institution's conference theme is in line with the development plan of Lagos State government. It is also pleasing to know that the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, an organ put in place by the state government to transform this transportation landscape in Lagos State, is actively involved at this conference. In the pursuit of the smart city status, the Lagos State government has carried out a lot of innovative policies and programs. These include effective and dynamic reforms to continuously ease the process of land administration in the state. One of these is the Integrated Land Administration and Automation System, incorporating the Geographical Information System, GIS. This has resulted in improved service delivery, enhanced transparency with increased public confidence. We appreciate the importance and contribution of your institution to the development of the state and indeed the entire nation. The impact of your institution's activities is well felt in the state with the valued contribution and services rendered by your professional colleagues in the public service. Some milestone achievements by your colleagues include the adoption of International Public Service Accounting System, IPSAS, in line with global best practices, the first ever in Nigeria, a collaborative effort by land officers in public service and private estate firms engaged with Lagos State government. There is also the ongoing property enumeration and data assembly aimed at improving the internally generated revenue of the state, being carried out by some estate firms engaged with the Lagos State government. Indeed, we have come up with many land-related policies emanating from recommendations of your colleagues in the public service. My address will not be complete without asking that the recommendation of this conference be made public through a communique as you join other well-meaning groups to address important topics in our national development. The objective of this conference, and indeed that of your institution, will not be met if we do not provide practical solutions to our challenges, as we cannot continue to rely on foreigners to develop our nation. The task is daunting, but with our collective effort, we shall succeed in making life more meaningful through technological development. We also look forward to a more symbolic relationship and fruitful partnership with your institution in dealing with the myriad of physical development challenges facing the state. Once more, I'm glad to be amongst you, and thank you for inviting me as guest of honor of this auspicious occasion, while wishing you all fruitful deliberation. Thank you and God bless. Ìtẹ̀síwájú ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ló jẹ wá lógún.
I remember particularly one building on Awolowo Road in Ikoyi. There was a planning permit for, I think, 4 floors. And ultimately, they built 6 floors. And I said, well, as long as I was governor in this state, that building must go down back to 4 floors. Because that was what we calculated the structural basis for. So you can't put 2 more. It just was not possible. And after all sorts of skirmish, the building itself was taken down. And the owner used the back channel to reach me to say, will I give an approval for? I said, I will give an approval for as many floors as you want, but come out clean and let us know what you want to do. The building has been built, it is now standing, and it is unlikely to collapse because we have gone back to law and order. It's that simple. But it is not just the building standing. It is that building standing in our smart city. Because if you send us a request for 4 floors, that is what we will plan water for. That is what we will plan power for. That is what we will plan refuse collection for. That is what we will plan waste and sewage treatment for. So if we are planning for 4 and you are giving us 6, that city is not going to work for you. So again, back to law and order. This morning on my way here, there was a conversation about speed cameras in order to deter excessive speeding. And it came incidentally in the context of the remarks that I made 2 days ago in Abuja about the cause of accidents on our highways. And people have been essentially having a go at themselves and sometimes at me on radio this morning, that I said that overspeeding and related matters was the biggest cause of accidents on our highways, and that bad roads accounted for less than 1% of the cost of road accidents. Of course, people were like, how can he say that when the roads are bad anyway? I understand them. But the point to make first is that I wasn't expressing an opinion. So for those who want to know what I said, go and read what I wasn't expressing an opinion. Some have even said, oh, because Fashola is a lawyer, he doesn't really know about roads. I was enjoying the debate on radio on my way here. But the point is, I didn't express my opinion. I just presented the reports of accidents investigated by the Federal Road Safety Corps. Not my own opinion. And it showed that over 50% of accidents were the result of overspeeding and careless driving and all of that. It showed that. And as recently as the last quarter for last year, it also showed that over 50% of the vehicles responsible were commercial vehicles. The only opinion, two opinions I expressed after presenting those facts was that logic suggests to me anyway, logic and common sense suggests to me anyway, that you cannot speed on a bad road. Let me take the argument further. The same people who are tearing out their heads will come to you and say, well, that road, that journey used to take 30 minutes before the road got bad. Now it takes 3 hours if the road is bad. So why is it taking 3 hours? It's because you can't move fast on it. Logic must suggest that to us, so it doesn't need any engineering. And the day the road is asphalted, what happens? You speed. So people, I will say some of those people have to unlearn their ignorance. Because sometimes we just claw at what has been repeated to us without fact-checking them. The other opinion I then expressed was that if we were concerned, and I spoke at a workshop about safety of lives and property on the highway, and that if we were really determined to reduce those accidents, we know where 50% of the problem comes from. We know the type of vehicles that contribute to that 50%. Let us concentrate our energies on that 50% instead of concentrating our energies on the 1% caused by bad roads. Is that not logic? You want to solve a problem and you put all your energies at attacking 1% of the problem instead of 50% of the problem. Well, I leave you to reflect on that. But the real point is that about our smart city and cameras. So what use is that camera if we obscure our number plate? What use is that camera if we have no facial identification? Because when they say come and register BVN, we hide. When they say register your phones, we put one on the table and hide one behind. Again, every time they say come and register and you don't register, you know what? You have excluded yourself from law. You have excluded yourself from order. Every time they say come and put your BVN, your data down, and you tell your bank manager, please, find something to do, you are excluding yourself. You are acting outside the law. And that city will not work for you, because when they are planning that city, you don't exist on the database. You just don't exist. And so it is for me more law and order. When they say register, I want to be there first, so that they know I am existing. And when the planner, when the estate surveyor, everybody is planning how to use land, they will remember that one Fashola is there, give him 1 square meter.
We have now come to the end of the Governor this week, but then you can continue with conversations of the Governor's activities on all the social media platforms showing on the screen. Until next week, I am Likon Onabanjo.